Welcome to Voyage Daily Tech, the most important news personalized for you every day, supported by Voyage.com.
After listening to today's news, you'll know, first, AI's unsexy failure to read PDF sparks a new data gold rush, forcing a race to unlock trillions of high-quality tokens. We'll explore how solving this long-ignored problem could transform AI training data strategies for Silicon Valley's top labs. Second, Alphabet spin-off's 25 Gbps Lightbeam tech aims to disrupt Starlink with near-zero latency for autonomous vehicles. Today, we'll take a closer look at this microsecond latency breakthrough and its implications for scaling robotaxi data offloads. Third, the US deploys a new tech course to fight a global AI war, countering China's low-cost models in developing nations. We'll analyse why this soft power strategy is a turning point and how it could affect the competitive dynamics of global AI adoption. Fourth, Lamborghini kills its all-electric supercar as wealthy buyers' EV acceptance drops to close to zero, disrupting the luxury market. So we'll discuss why this emotional connection failure matters and what it means for the EV product roadmaps of other luxury automakers. Fifth, Samsung challenges Apple and Google by adding a third AI to its phones, betting on a multi-agent open ecosystem strategy. In this episode, we'll break down this orchestration layer development and what it signals for the future of the wake word economy and mobile AI platforms. Believe it or not, the world's most advanced AI can solve physics problems and build software, but it consistently chokes on one of the most common files on your computer, the PDF. One expert even calls it one of AI's biggest unsexy failures. What most people don't grasp is that for years, major AI labs systematically ignored PDFs. Why? They were focused on the easy stuff, scraping trillions of words from the open web, from HTML-based data sources that are simple to parse. They prioritized quantity over quality, leaving the goldmine of high-value, structured information locked inside PDFs completely untapped. And this isn't just a minor annoyance. When the Department of Justice released over 3 million files related to the Jeffrey Epstein case, they were all PDFs. And because of poor processing, they were rendered almost completely unsearchable. Some experts suggest this isn't always an accident. Releasing documents in a format that is technically public but practically unusable can be a form of disclosure in name only, hindering real public access. And even when the intent is good, the risk is massive. In high-stakes fields like legal discovery or medical records, even a tiny error rate can be catastrophic. The industry might accept a 2% error rate, but when you're processing millions of documents, that translates to tens of thousands of critical errors, creating huge legal liabilities. It all goes back to the PDF's original design in the 1990s, when it was built to look perfect on a screen or on paper. That machine hostility was, interestingly enough, a deliberate feature. The goal was to create a fixed digital printout that looked identical everywhere for human eyes. It was never meant to be a structured, machine-readable data container. An AI trying to read a 2-column document will often just read straight across, creating an unintelligible jumble. It confuses footnotes with main text, can't understand tables, and sometimes just hallucinates content that isn't there. And the stakes are higher than you might think. Recent studies of top-tier legal AI tools found they can hallucinate or invent false information between 17% and 33% of the time. One researcher even joked that solving PDF parsing would be a milestone just before achieving true artificial general intelligence. But now, the game is changing. In a desperate search for more training data, AI developers stumbled upon a digital motherlode, a web archive containing 1.3 billion PDFs. That's a potential 3 trillion high-quality tokens of information just waiting to be unlocked. Suddenly, the unsexy failure has become a top priority. This has sparked a new race with specialized companies like Reducto tackling the problem. They compare it to self-driving cars. It's easy to get an AI to stay in its lane, but incredibly hard to handle all the unexpected challenges on the road. Now, get this. The big general-purpose models like GPT-4o often fail here. In one benchmark study, GPT-4o had an accuracy of only 38% when trying to extract data from structured tables in a document. It just breaks. So companies like Reducto are building specialized teams of AIs, an ensemble of models. One model segments the page, another extracts tables, a third reads charts, and a final one corrects errors. This task-specific approach is proving that for high-precision work, a team of specialists can crush a single generalist. For PDFs, that means bizarre tables, scanned faxes with handwritten notes, and even files containing other files. So the PDF isn't going anywhere. In fact, its use is growing every year. The format is so dominant and the data inside so valuable that the dynamic is flipped. It's no longer about replacing the PDF. Now, the most powerful AI companies in the world are being forced to adapt because they've realized they have no other choice. We were just talking about the struggle to unlock data from old formats. Now, let's shift our focus to a company that's found a way to transmit massive amounts of new data through thin air. A company spun out of Alphabet just unveiled a technology that could rewire our cities, and it's doing it with invisible beams of light. A new device called the Taara beam, the size of a shoebox, can deliver a staggering 25 gigabits per second of data. That's a speed that rivals fiber optics. The technology is called Free Space Optical Communication, or FSO. It's literally sending data on a beam of light through the air. But this is also where we hit the first major challenge. Unlike radio waves used in 5G, which can bend around some obstacles, these light beams require a clear, direct line of sight, and they can be affected by the weather. Research shows that heavy fog, for example, can dramatically reduce a signal's strength, sometimes limiting the effective range to just a few hundred meters. So while the speed is incredible, reliability in all weather conditions is a major hurdle they're working to overcome. But here's where it gets interesting. While laying fiber can take months of digging up streets, Taara says these light beam devices can be deployed in just hours. This puts it in direct competition with satellite services like Starlink, but it has a crucial advantage. Its latency, the speed of the connection's response time, is under 100 microseconds. That's far better than any system beaming down from space. For vehicle-to-everything communication, or V2X, that speed is safety. The current technologies being tested, like CV2X over 5G networks, have latencies measured in milliseconds, that's thousandths of a second. Taara's latency is in microseconds, millionths of a second. We're talking about a connection that is hundreds, if not thousands, of times more responsive. That's the difference between a car's safety system getting a warning instantly versus a split second later, which could be the difference between avoiding a crash and causing one. The strategy is to mount these devices on rooftops and street poles, creating a high-speed network that blankets distances up to 10 kilometers. And if you think this is just for your home Wi-Fi, you're wrong. Taara is targeting enterprises and telecom giants for what they call middle-mile infrastructure. The potential applications are straight out of the future. Think fleets of robotaxis and delivery vans offloading terabytes of sensor data in seconds while they charge. What's crucial to understand is that an autonomous vehicle is a data-generating monster. We're talking about a single autonomous truck potentially creating several terabytes of data every single hour from its cameras, LiDAR, and radar. To put that in perspective, that's like downloading hundreds of high-definition movies. You simply can't offload that much data efficiently over a standard cellular connection. This is why having a 25 gigabit per second link at a charging station is a game changer. It solves a massive data bottleneck that has been holding back the scaling of large robo-taxi fleets, or creating high-speed mesh networks that connect entire city intersections, enabling next-generation vehicle-to-everything communications. This isn't just a concept. Taara's earlier technology has already been deployed by giants like T-Mobile and Airtel in over 20 countries. And here's how this moonshot idea is becoming a real-world business. Taara actually spun out of X, Alphabet's famous innovation lab, to become its own independent company. This move allows it to raise its own money and operate with more agility, a different strategy than Alphabet used for other spin-offs like Waymo. This tells us they are incredibly serious about commercializing this technology, and fast. Now, with the launch of Taara Beam, this light-based internet is no longer a fringe experiment. It's a proven technology aimed squarely at the heart of urban infrastructure, promising to deliver the future of connectivity without ever digging a single trench. That kind of high-speed infrastructure is one form of competition, but the global tech race is also heating up on a completely different front, soft power. The US, Peace Corps, famous for sending volunteers to build schools and teach English, is now being deployed to fight a global war against China. This is where the situation takes a more complex turn, echoing history. The original Peace Corps was launched during the Cold War as a powerful tool of American soft power to counter Soviet influence. Now, we're seeing that playbook being dusted off for a new era of great power competition, this time centered on technology. Washington has just unveiled the Tech Corps, a new branch of the Peace Corps designed to send American engineers and STEM graduates around the world. Their mission is to promote and implement American artificial intelligence solutions in partner nations, a direct move to counter China's rapidly growing influence. This isn't a theoretical rivalry. To understand the battlefield, you have to look at China's incredibly effective strategy. They are offering powerful free open source AI models like DeepSeek and Qwen 3 to developing nations. A recent Microsoft report noted that because these models have no subscription fees, they have lowered the barrier for millions of users, especially in price-sensitive regions. This has led to massive adoption. In countries like Belarus and Cuba, China's AI market share has soared to over 50%. It's even gaining a significant foothold in Africa. As we analysed a while back, that momentum comes from an efficiency-first playbook distillation, selective activation like mixture of experts, and open weight releases that pushes costs down to roughly 1/6 to 1/4 of comparable American systems. We also noted reports from a US House Select Committee suggesting Chinese labs have sustained training by routing access to restricted chips via intermediaries and cloud rentals, further compressing costs. Now, the US is fighting back, not just with technology, but with people on the ground. The initiative will recruit tech-savvy volunteers for deployment starting in fall 2026, providing last-mile support to install American AI for agriculture, health, and economic development. As we discussed a while back, many Chinese models are tuned to run lean on local hardware. Pairing US software with hands-on integration is an explicit attempt to neutralize that edge. However, if you zoom out, you'll see another layer to this: the immense on-the-ground challenges. We're talking about deploying advanced American AI systems in environments with unreliable electricity, limited internet access, and a shortage of local AI expertise. For example, in some parts of Africa, internet penetration is still below 40% compared to over 90% in North America. These volunteers won't just be coding, they'll be navigating fundamental infrastructure problems that can stop a project in its tracks. Continuing our last discussion on agentic systems, there's also pressure to make these tools work offline or in low bandwidth settings, an area where China's cost-first open weight approach has been especially aggressive. India is expected to be one of the first and most crucial partners in this program. A while back, we talked about how open models were spreading rapidly across the global south, putting early tech core wins in a major tech market like India signals. Washington wants a flagship deployment to showcase the American stack, but the strategy goes far beyond volunteer work. A White House official framed the stakes in stark terms, stating, "Real AI sovereignty means owning and using best-in-class technology for the benefit of your people." This brings up a really interesting and controversial definition of sovereignty. Many experts argue that true sovereignty isn't about using someone else's best-in-class technology, but about building and controlling your own. There's a real concern that adopting a foreign-made AI infrastructure, even an American one, simply creates a new form of technological dependency. You become reliant on another country for updates, security, and support. As we've discussed before, that debate has only sharpened as Chinese players open weights on models like Qwen and DeepSeek, inviting local customization and control rather than lock-in. The implicit message is that choosing a side in the AI race is now a matter of national security. But that's not the whole picture. To seal the deal, the US is also activating its financial soft power, using institutions like the World Bank and the US International Development Finance Corporation to help countries overcome financing obstacles as they import the American AI stack. They aren't just offering the technology, they're helping nations buy it. A few days ago, we mentioned how China's low-cost model wave reset pricing worldwide. This financing is Washington's counter, aiming to close the cost gap where budgets are tight. This marks a dramatic pivot, transforming a classic symbol of American soft power into a strategic weapon for technological dominance. The global AI competition is no longer just happening in labs. It's being fought in developing nations by a new generation of tech-focused volunteers. We previously analysed China's Spring Festival model Blitz and the rise of agentic multimodal systems. TechCore is the US answer, less about building ever bigger models, more about winning the default in the field. From a global tech war funded by governments, we now turn to a high-stakes battle in the luxury market where the customer is king. Lamborghini just killed its all-electric supercar. The reason why is an absolute bombshell for the entire auto industry. Actually, this isn't just about one car company. It signals a major split in the road for the entire EV transition, showing how the path forward might be very different for supercars versus everyday cars. The Italian icon has officially pulled the plug on its all-electric Lanzador concept, a car that was supposed to launch its EV future. The company is now pivoting its entire strategy to focus only on plug-in hybrids by 2030. The pivot is so sharp that many in the auto world are now asking if plug-in hybrids are becoming a strategic retreat for car makers who overpromised on going all-electric. Companies from Ford to Honda are also scaling back their pure EV plans using hybrids as a bridge. So Lamborghini isn't alone. They're just being the most brutally honest about it. So why the sudden U-turn? According to CEO Stefan Winkelmann, the acceptance curve for pure electric vehicles among its ultra-wealthy clients is getting close to zero. His customers, the people who actually buy these supercars, simply do not want them. For these ultra-wealthy buyers, a car isn't just transportation, it's about emotion. Research actually shows that for many people, especially in this high-end market, the design and sensory experience of a car can trigger a powerful emotional response. We're talking about the visceral feel and, most importantly, the sound. And the CEO didn't stop there. He went on the record calling the development of a full EV an expensive hobby for the brand, stating that sports car lovers have failed to find an emotional connection with electric cars because they miss the signature noise of a combustion engine. You know, automotive engineers and brand strategists consider engine sound a non-negotiable product feature. It's part of the brand's DNA. While some EVs use artificial futuristic sounds, surveys show that customers, especially performance enthusiasts, find them unconvincing. They want the authentic raw, not a digital imitation, and Lamborghini is saying that emotional connection is something they can't afford to lose. This marks a massive reversal. Just a few years ago, Lamborghini announced a 1.5 billion euro investment into hybrid and all-electric vehicles. Now, that all-electric dream is dead. If that was just the appetizer, the main course is just being served. Lamborghini's business is booming, and it's because of the very strategy they're now doubling down on. The company delivered a record 10,747 cars in 2025, with results heavily boosted by the success of its hybrid models like the Revuelto supercar. The hybrid strategy is already a proven moneymaker. Winkelmann said investing in full EVs when the market isn't ready would be financially irresponsible. He argues plug-in hybrids offer the best of both worlds, the boost of electric tech with the emotion and power of a real engine. The final takeaway is a direct challenge to the EV-only narrative. While the rest of the industry races toward an all-electric finish line, Lamborghini has made its stance clear. They will continue to build cars with combustion engines for as long as possible. This decision brings both benefits for the brand but also comes with inherent risks, suggesting the EV transition might be bifurcating or splitting along class lines. While mass-market brands like Tesla and BYD are accelerating their all-electric plans for everyday drivers, the ultra-luxury performance segment is hitting an emotional and financial wall. It raises a huge question. Will the future of driving be all electric for the masses, but a hybrid, gas-powered experience for the few who can afford it? Speaking of legacy brands making surprising moves, Lamborghini isn't the only one shaking up its industry. Over in the world of mobile tech, Samsung is making a gamble that directly challenges Apple and Google. Samsung just turned the AI race on its head. On its next flagship phone, you won't just have one AI assistant or even two, you'll have three. Alongside its own Bixby and Google's Gemini, what really brought this to a head was the addition of a powerful new player, Perplexity AI. So the thing is, Perplexity isn't just another Gemini clone, where Google's Gemini focuses on broad, creative, and multimodal tasks. Perplexity is a specialist. It's known for providing real-time, highly accurate responses, and crucially, it cites its sources. It's like having a research assistant in your pocket, not just a general purpose helper. And this isn't just another app you can download. We're talking deep integration. With a simple wake word, "Hey Plex," Perplexity will have access to core Samsung apps like Notes, Calendar, Clock, and your photo gallery. Now, this is where things get really interesting and maybe a little concerning. Granting a third-party AI deep read and write access to your personal data is a huge deal. In fact, security researchers have previously pointed out some major vulnerabilities in Perplexity's Android app, including things like hard-coded API keys that could potentially expose user data. The situation presents a fascinating duality. On one side, Samsung's open approach, while on the other, you have Apple's polar opposite strategy with Apple Intelligence. Apple is going all in on on-device processing, meaning your data stays on your phone, and for more complex tasks, it uses something called a private cloud compute system, which is designed so that not even Apple can access your information. So what's the big idea? Why would Samsung crowd its own device with competing AIs? The answer is a radical new strategy Samsung calls a multi-agent ecosystem. On a technical level, Samsung's Galaxy AI isn't just an app. It's embedded deep within the operating system. This allows it to act as a traffic controller or an orchestrator for all these different AIs. It understands the context of what you're doing and can route tasks to the best agent for the job, often without you even noticing. This means the AIs can work together in the background, creating smoother, multi-step workflows without you having to constantly switch apps or repeat yourself. They are making a massive bet. While competitors like Apple and Google want to lock you into their single assistant, Samsung is doing the exact opposite. They're betting that users don't want to be tied to just one AI, and they have data to back this up. Samsung's own internal research shows that nearly 80% of its users are already relying on more than 2 different types of AI agents. So they're not just guessing, they're responding to a trend that's already happening. The company believes people can develop strong attachments to specific AIs, and giving them the freedom to choose will be its secret weapon. After all, it's not just about user freedom, it's a brilliant strategic hedge. If users fall in love with Perplexity, Samsung still wins. If Google's Gemini has a breakthrough, Samsung wins. By controlling this orchestration layer on the device itself, Samsung shifts the power away from the AI companies and keeps it for itself as the device maker. This isn't just about adding a feature, it's a direct challenge to the entire industry's playbook. This move is significant because it strikes at the heart of what's called the wake word economy. Owning the phrase that activates a device like Hey Siri or Hey Google has been a battleground for years. It's the primary gateway to the user and to their data. By giving Hey Plex its own dedicated wake word, Samsung is breaking up that monopoly on its own hardware. Samsung is essentially telling its biggest rivals that their walled garden approach is the wrong way forward. Instead of forcing a single choice, Samsung is transforming its phones into an open arena for AI agents to compete. This move isn't just about offering more options. It's a high-stakes gamble to redefine the user experience by betting on freedom of choice in a market where everyone else is demanding loyalty.
That's it for today on Voyage Daily Tech. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.